So we've just moved our pigs over to the other side of the farm, over to the secret meadow, and on the way back I've just noticed that I think Edna might be getting close to calving, which is all very exciting but a little bit daunting. So hopefully in today's video we'll be sharing with you a new baby arrival. No idea what I'm doing. So we've had numerous baby animals on the farm since we moved here. We've had chicks, we've had ducklings, quail, lambs, goats, piglets. I think that's it. But what we haven't had is a calf, because until last week we didn't own cows. So baptism of fire that it is, we've bought 2 in-calf cows, but one of them was meant to be due to calve kind of mid-summer. Well, it looks like that's been fast-tracked somewhat, and the previous owner said to us he thought she was only a week or 2 off. So this is Edna here. She is an 11-year-old cow, so she's done this plenty of times, and as you can see she's really bagging up. But the changes that I've been told to look for, Fiona is our mentor. She is Fiona is the Calf at Foot dairy founder. She came up with the whole concept of keeping a calf at foot and still milking in this really nice ethical setup, and she did that back in the 80s and 90s, and she's done it through to current day, but she's now turning more towards like a mentor consultant setup. So we've been up to her farm, we've looked at her cows. What she said to be looking for are the ligaments. So basically here in the pelvis there's ligaments which join the tail down to the hip here, and those, just like in our goats, they go nice and soft to allow them to kind of relax the whole back end, ready to calve. And that's one of the things we want to be looking for. And they've dipped quite a bit here, but we can still feel them, so they haven't gone and slackened off completely. But you'll notice that today it's getting a bit more swollen at the back end. Excuse it if you're having your breakfast, but we've also got a bit of kind of mucousy discharge stuff going on. So in all of our animals, that's kind of a good sign of something coming. We're kind of expecting her to take herself off into a quiet corner of the field and hopefully get on and do it herself. That's got everything she needs in it in order to produce all the milk she needs, and hopefully between that, and we've also got some calcium drenches and things just to make sure she doesn't end up with milk fever. Hopefully those flies will be gone soon as well, girl. It's not for this video, but we've also just signed the delivery for our milking machine, a little portable one, but that is going to be a welcome change for my morning routine. In your own time. Maybe I can move her lick. I'm going to move it for you, okay? Move. What? Come on. There you go. Right, let's leave old girl alone. Go and do the sheep checks, and then we'll just have to keep an eye on her.
Fine. Sorry, we just have to find.
Okay, I'm just going down to the lake field, and then I will be about 5 minutes. But Edna looks like she's getting a little bit closer.
Do you think it's tonight?
I think it's tonight. I think it might be in the middle of the night though. It's like we might not have to go that far. Let's go to the top of the hill. No, we have to be very careful down here because the geese are just nutcases. Now we've got a fence around the lake. All of the goslings have stayed this year. Don't know what happened to them last year, but the last 2 years we haven't seen any goslings, just them nesting. Now we've got 2 families here co-parenting. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goslings and 4 parents, and they're all pretty chilled out. But the goslings can run through the fence, and the parents can't, they just run out the fence. Yeah, good girl. There's not much grass down here, to be fair. Who's that? Number 11, that's a single. Don't know where this girl's lambs are. Number 5, that's horse. Remember that giant lamb that was born? You're an absolute whopper. Number 7. There's a lost lamb up there, but that's fine. They're old enough to deal with that themselves. I think we are okay. I worry a little bit sometimes that this end's quite boggy, but I don't think it's boggy enough that they would get stuck. Alright, all is good on the sheep front. That lamb's mum is here. She couldn't care less. Well, she might have picked the most miserable day to have it, but we think we can see a calf. You could just see, we're busy on working on the barn, and we could just see a little bit of white underneath her. I think a bit of brown. They're like a lighter colour, they're brownish when they're born. Well, we thought she might take herself off into the longer grass. She's managed to find a big patch of nettles. But as long as we know the calf's right, we'll leave her to it, because she could be quite protective. Oh, it's not a pure Gloucester. It's a Hereford. So she's had her calf. It's not a pure Gloucester, it's a Hereford cross Gloucester. So both regional breeds, but Jonathan has both bulls, so I think he said there was a crossover. So it could have been either, lucky dip. But that's what we got. Can't tell if it's a girl or a boy yet. But it's not going to be short of milk.
Now fortunately, timings worked out and Fiona was heading down that day to train us up on our new machine, and therefore it was helpful to have someone to check over the calf and also see if milk was flowing and get everything working. Unfortunately for us, Edna's bag is really low, it's really big, it's not ideal for a new calf to be able to feed from, and we were having more and more issues getting him to show interest. So kind of 6, 7, 8 hours in, and he's still not feeding. That's the key time that colostrum needs to be there, and we just had to kind of persevere until he'd had something. Now fortunately, because Fiona's got her own herd of jerseys, she was able to bring down some frozen colostrum, defrost that, so we knew he'd had something. So this is me kind of distracting Edna whilst Fiona was able to get a bottle into him, but we really had to get him feeding.
Well, we're back for round 2. Fiona's actually come all the way back today because we still couldn't get the calf feeding. She just wanted to come back and help us out, which is amazing. It's just as much about milking Edna as well and relieving some of that.
Now we worked our way all the way up to the new milking area in the cowshed, and this is where things got a little bit harder to work with. It turns out Edna is not particularly keen on being milked anymore. She's spent her life in the dairy, but she's obviously full of hormones having the calf, but also it's just a case of getting her used to that feeling of being milked, or at least relieving some of that pressure. Unfortunately, this is day 2 and we've managed to get him latched on, and now hopefully he's going to work his way around and start to get the hang of feeding. But she really was a kicker, and you'll see in future videos from the following weeks and months it didn't get any easier. But for now, the priority was the calf, and he's feeding. It's morning 2, and after it had a good feed last night, it was tucked up in the hedge. We were going to put it in the trailer with a jacket on. I borrowed a calf jacket. So I'm now going to see if I can find him. Hopefully he's with Mum. There he is, he's right next to her. So that's a good sign, at least he's been up and walking around. Just got to hope he's had a feed from her. Hello, darling. So he looks pretty well, and he doesn't appear to be shivering at all, which is a good sign. And I would say her front teat is looking a bit wrinkly, as if he has had a feed from that. That's the big one that he had a feed from yesterday. So he does know to go to that one. Just great to see him feeding. So unfortunately, we probably did miss out on that colostrum window. We know he had something within 24 hours, but nowhere near enough, and not from her. So I had to keep pushing on. Of course, this is more about just him getting a feed and her having some milk taken off her. So the only way to do it safely, because she really was a bit of a kung fu kicker, was to get him latched on one, and then I could milk out another at the same time, and almost use him as a bit of a shield, because she wasn't kick. Most of the time she wouldn't kick if she knew he was there. So this was the technique I came up with for the next day or two. This was me trying to get at least a couple of litres off each one just to relieve some of that pressure. But cows aren't stupid, and if they realise they can't kick you, they've got a crazy accurate tail. And this is what she started doing. Straight in the eyeball.
Oh, girl, we're just trying to help. Do you reckon I could put this on you? I know you're laughing at me, because definitely not going to happen, is it? She's going to drag me around the field. Do you want... Just any chance? Just pop this on? Madam? I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll go one more time. Go one more time. That's the shake of the head like, no, jog on. He's a good boy, but he needs to drain you. He's not going to. This is draining me though.
So over the coming days, we managed to get both cows up to the parlour. This is Hyssop getting milked, and we were starting to get used to using the machine. Now, we're really fortunate to have a load of local friends and farmers that are obviously far more in tune with cows than we are. And we had lots of advice from old tips and tricks for kicking cows and trying different techniques. Certain things work for kicking in the parlour, certain things don't, and certain cows don't take to certain methods. So we did try a few things. Sometimes it was just not safe to do so, but things did improve. So in the next video, we'll talk about what we tried. We didn't have a crush, but it's something we probably will get. Although our girls are halter trained and pretty calm, that would have been one way of holding her still and safe whilst we tried to milk her. But for now, things are moving in the right direction. The calf's well, and we're a few months on now, but we'll start bringing out some of these videos and just show the whole journey of how it all went. Hope you enjoyed that. If you want to check out more videos, head back to the main channel. Make sure you subscribed. Take care. We'll see you next time.